Well, this is a happy excuse to bother an old friend, Bobby Valentine. It's been too long, Bobby. How you hanging in there?
Scott, I'm hanging in there. I'm wishing you the best. Stay healthy and out of the way of this virus, okay, man?
We're trying our best, as we wish the same to you. And obviously, we wanted to talk after this remarkable night in New York City and that first game back at home. What do you remember most vividly about that night in Shea?
Well, I was sleep deprived at the time. It was a tough 10 days to get back to New York, but I remembered the lack of emotion, the fear, the anxiety, all the trepidation that everyone had as they entered into that game, players and fans and the policemen and everyone else. And I saw the whole frown turn upside down when Mike hit a ball that went out of the world in the seventh inning. And it was remarkable to see how that changed everyone's spirits. And hopefully we'll have an event like that soon here to get over this bit of fear, anxiety that we're dealing with today.
Bobby, Commissioner Manfred was a guest on the show last week, and he talked about being in Shea that night and what an honor it was. And we talked to Aaron Boone about the Yankees' role, too. The Yankees and the Mets mean so much to New York. Sports means so much to New York. When we do finally get back to a more normal life, what is your sense of the role sports will play to that city and to the country?
Well, I'm hoping that they play the role that they played in the past, and that is one that people can escape to kind of a fantasy land, to somewhere that they watch heroes perform, but they know that it's not a life and death situation, and everyone's dealing with the fear of death right now, and that's not a game at all. So hopefully they'll be able to get back, spend a few hours of relaxation watching their favorite team compete. And all of this fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that we have in our life right now will diminish as they watch their favorite team play.
You've worn a lot of hats in life, Bobby, and if baseball were to speak to you just with your thoughts about how they might proceed, what would be a wise way to proceed moving forward, given that there are unknowns here that we can't possibly know the answer to, but what would be your sense of a pragmatic approach for baseball to take in the coming months?
Well, not to do too much, not to try to be too big, to try to play the role of being the sport, and the sport then will emulate all of the heroisms and dreams that people want the sport to be, but not to overdo it, just to go out and play, to have a good game, to be competitive at every step of the way, but make sure that they understand that their place is to serve the public, not replace anything that is out there now.
As a final thought, Bobby, and I mentioned hats you've worn. Obviously, there's a huge story that you're well involved with, given your role as the executive director of athletics with Sacred Heart, that came out Monday about spring sports and athletes having another year of eligibility. That's great on the one hand, but it comes with some challenges. What's your initial thought about how that will be handled?
Oh, I think it's very complicated when you're dealing with expanded rosters, Title IX situations, scholarship situations. I think it's going to be a very demanding situation for each institution to hand individually. There was no basketball tournament this year, Scott. Yep. You know that, and you know what a revenue generator that is, that not only for the NC2A, but for all of the partner schools around the country. Well, those funds have been slashed, and there's many universities now who are working at a real shortfall. So we'll see how that plays. I'm hoping that the athletes have that chance of performing in their senior year and living out their dream. But a lot of young men and women are going to go on with their lives and just chalk it up as a good 3 or 4 year experience. And remember, their senior year just didn't happen.
Well, that's a question that obviously we'll be figuring out in the coming weeks and months. I appreciate your perspective there, and certainly appreciate you looking back with such fondness on that memorable night back in 2001, Bobby. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay well. Time's not touching you, man. You refused an age a day, and that's offensive to me. That's offensive. Now look at you. It won't touch you, man. You stay well, all right?
You're the man. Thanks, Scott. Great being with you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Bobby. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.